Hello, everyone. I'm Jordi. We're going to talk about communities today. So my talk is directed to event organizers, community organizers, and maybe people who hasn't a community yet, but might be willing to start one. So, a little bit about me. I've been traveling for a while. I've been launching startups. I am organizing a community in Barcelona, and it's not only the information that I learned on my own that I'm going to be sharing today with you, but my experience working with hundreds of communities through my work at Satlantis, the Bitcoin native events app. So that's me. You can see me in the Free Cities Conference, at Bitcoin Prague, in El Salvador, and in BTC Hell as well. So what I'm going to share with you guys is like a simple 4-step process. It's simple, but not all of us are following it. So I would like you to just take pictures if you feel like this is valuable for any of you. So the first thing, to start a community, well, we have to first meet each other and host an event. Then you have to study the people that comes, then you have to engage with them, and then we have to make money out of it. We're talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is money. And then even so, I go to all these meetups, conferences, communities, and nobody's making money. We all doing this, you know, for the love of the game, because we want to help each other, because we care about education. No, we have to stop being that cheap, and we have to start making money out of our communities. Else, one day we're going to wake up and stop having the energy to do this. We're going to burn out, and all the effort that we have put will vanish. So today I'm going to go through all these 4 steps. And if any of you has questions, I'm also running a workshop later at 5:30, just a 30-minute workshop, which is more like a consultancy session. So you can get in touch and you can tell me exactly what are the issues that you're facing in your communities. So let's go with the first one, right? So host. What does host mean? You have to run some events that people show up to. And here I have some examples of the type of events that you can do. The typical thing that we Bitcoiners do is meetups. We meet, we have like maybe a topic of discussion, and we talk about this for the whole afternoon. Yeah, but that's not the only thing that you can do. You can do workshops, like here at the conference. There are like workshops every afternoon. You can do masterminds. You can do sporting events. 2 days ago, the first day, there was like a football club here. Who went to the football tournament? Okay, some of you went there, right? Okay. Then there was like a walk. So those are like types of events that you can host. What else? A dinner. You can host a dinner with a couple of friends. And maybe if people like what they talk about in this dinner, maybe they're going to share it with their friends. And maybe next dinner will be like more people coming and showing up. What else? Parties. Any type of party. Co-working days. I am affiliated with this organization that they run a co-working day, meaning every random day of the month, you go to a different co-working, and then you like work, instead of working from home, you work from that co-working day. What else? Retreats. There are some Bitcoiner retreats out there. And I know this talk is called the Bitcoin Community Flywheel, but Bitcoin could be written in parentheses, right? So it doesn't have to be about Bitcoin. Bitcoin might be one of the topics. And trips. There are some trips that you go with some friends, and maybe there you can start talking about Bitcoin. So this is just an event. Easy, right? Easy. We all can do an event. Okay, but that's not enough. So step number 2. Now you have to study the people. I'm a host in Barcelona, in my Barcelona Bitcoin community. So every time I do an event, I make sure that I welcome every new person that comes. Easy. You just have to stay in the door. There is only one door. Hello, welcome. How are you doing? Is it your first time? Welcome people in. And then you have to start studying them. Studying them, like, look what they're doing. For example, if they listen to the speaker, are they liking it? Are they nodding or not? Are they talking to each other? You have to study them, and you have to see what topics seems or feel relevant to them. So here I have like a couple of ideas on how to do that. So you have to know your people, right? So what I'm saying now. You have to profile attendees. You don't have to be very thorough, but you have to at least know which people like sports, what people likes food, what people like health stuff, what people like to talk about, I don't know, end defect and those things, right? So based on that, you know your community. More things they have for you. Ask what they like. You can do like polls, you can do surveys on a Telegram group. More. And then you have to invite them to similar events that can be hosted by you or by similar communities. More examples. Find similar communities. And we can see it here in this conference, here in Bitcoin Ireland. It's called Bitcoin Ireland Conference. But there are some topics, some speakers that are not talking about Bitcoin, no? But we have similar interests. So by combining different communities, you can bring them that are talking about topics that are very, very, very similar to each other. You can bring more people together to your events. More networking. So another example of what I do in my Barcelona community. I cannot talk to all of us. So it's like, we are like 40, 50 members or attendees per event. I cannot invest or I cannot give all my energy that I have a night or one afternoon with all of them. There's not enough time for me to talk to all of them. But I have enough time to get to know two or three things that each person likes. And then once I meet another person that I think that they are compatible, my job is to connect them, right? So when you organize events, there will be a moment. If it's 10 people, you can handle it. But the goal is not to have a 10 people group. The goal is to have 100 people, 1,000, 10,000, right? So to scale it. More examples, the polls and challenges that I explained before, and then you have to segment your audience and run experiments. What works for me, what works for the companies and the communities that I'm working for might not work for you. So you can copy things that are happening, and I have some experiments that I already shared with some of you during this last couple of days, and I can share other experiments later in the workshop. You have to start trying and testing, right? So let's go to the next step. Next step is engage. So we talked about an event. You host an event, and then people come, and you study the people that come. But that's not a community. That's a single event. You want to make sure that these people keep coming. So in the process of running one event and running another event, you have to engage these people together. So what I call it is like keep the conversation alive. And here I have some examples on how to keep this conversation alive. So for example, set up a Telegram group or WhatsApp group. What for? So you see Telegram or WhatsApp or Discord, however, whichever technology, whichever platform that your users feel comfortable with. Now, the first examples are like private channels. Then you have to also share it with the world. Whatever happened, like you can take pictures, you can ask to the audience, do you mind if I take pictures? And if they say no, doesn't matter, take the picture anyway, and then block the face with something, and then you post it, just to demonstrate that this happened. More, Instagram, LinkedIn. We Bitcoiners try to forget about these platforms and use them understanding what those platforms mean. If you guys listened to Efrat's talk yesterday, this is not yours platforms. They're just websites that allow you to do stuff until they stop allowing you doing stuff. Just beware, understand. Today somebody, who was it? Carl asked, who downloaded Wallet of Satoshi? Have you read the terms and conditions? Just understand what those platforms can add to your community, right? So you have to keep the conversation alive. More examples. YouTube, Nostr. There was a workshop today about Nostr with Ben. Ben Werman did a workshop about that. And then lives and spaces. So this is a way to keep your people engaged until they see your next event. If you just run one event, don't expect these people to come magically to your next event unless you nurture them. You have to nurture, you have to give them things, you have to give them some material. Seems easy, but what will work for your community? I don't know. I can tell you what worked for mine. And the last step, the most complicated one, is that once you keep running like this flywheel, one event, you study the people, then you engage with them, another event, engage with people, another event, and you start doing this, you'll see that people will start coming magically. It's not magically, it's because you made it happen. But then we have to bring a topic that nobody wants to talk about. We have to make money. Because if you don't make money, like most of those events, like people, they will just give you donations, etc. Yeah, this is charity. I don't want charity. I want to offer my products and services. I want to be valued for that. And that's why when you come to this conference is not free. You pay for it because you get something in exchange that is very valuable. So I have prepared a list in order of less effective to most effective of ideas that if you are interested, try them. So the less effective monetization path, it's donations, as I was saying. People might donate you when they go to one event, but they might donate you once or twice, and they feel that they already did their part, so they're not going to keep donating after in one event or the next event. So then you have to come up with other creative ways of making money. You can sell tickets. Yeah, but wait, it's a meetup. You shouldn't charge for a meetup, right? So depending how valuable this meetup you think it is, maybe you can sell tickets. But again, I don't recommend to charge for your meetups. Meetups, from my perspective, should always be free. So how can you make money? Merchandise. So you could partner with some brand that offers you, I don't know, t-shirts, hats, mugs, whatever you think your audience is interested in. So this brand gives you this merchandise for free, but then you tell them, but I'm going to sell them. And if they agree, then you can make some money out of this. For example, you could partner with some Bitcoin company that they want to spread their word in your country, in your city, right? So this is another idea. It might work, and why is it in the first column with the less effective? Because it might work until all your attendants, they bought all the merchandise that you have. I'm not going to buy 10 t-shirts, I'm going to buy one. Once I have it, that's it. So this is also temporary. So more effective things. Merchant offers. So you can partner with local merchants that accept Bitcoin to bring their products. And then you become like a marketplace. And then you can keep a fee, or you can charge them a fixed fee just for coming and selling their products. This is increasing the effectiveness because you're not doing the job. They are doing the work. They are the ones that have to do the effort of selling. More effective, bundle tickets. This is one of my favorites. Okay, in Barcelona, we did the projection of a movie. And we found a sponsor that paid for the movie, but then we also wanted to offer tickets. So free movie, but then free movie plus popcorn, or free movie plus some swag from the sponsor. So then you can, in one event, you can sell different types of tickets, and there is always one for free. But now you can buy, and imagine like if you have like a whole list of products that you can relate to this conference, to this event, like I don't know, like books, for example, a bundle ticket. We have some authors here. Knut has like 3, 4, 5 books. So if you buy one, it's 10. But if you buy 3, each one is 8, for example. So you can do that, and you can pre-sell them in advance. So here we start with my favorites now. Community-driven sales. You, as a connector, as the community organizer, you have to know all your audience. So you know who's selling what. And if people is asking for this type of product, then what you can do is you can connect people with each other and see what is the product that is more interesting. You can go talk to this person that is selling this product and say, on the next event, I want you on stage just for 5 minutes to explain me what you're selling, because I want to help you sell, because I know that my audience is interested in it. And you take a cut. Then this is so easy, one-on-one consulting. For example, you have a Telegram or a Discord or a Signal group, and then from there, because you are the admin, people naturally will reach out to you. Hey, can you help me with that? Yes, of course. We can do like a consultancy session, 1 hour cost, blah, blah, blah. And then during that hour, you do a discovery call, and then in that discovery call, you can make a diagnosis, and based on that diagnosis, you can propose a program that maybe is like 4 weeks to learn how to do self-custody, one-on-one consulting. Perfect. Now, sponsorships. I quietly mentioned that before. Sponsorships are great. You just because you know who is your audience, because you studied them before on the step before, you can go to brands and say, this is my audience, and I know that you're the perfect sponsor. Because sponsorships can be done wrong. You can start calling all the Bitcoin companies and tell them, would you like to sell your products in my event? Yeah, but what if nobody buys this product? You did a bad job. No, you have to only call the sponsors that you think that your audience is gonna purchase those services. And the most effective one that I have here is the paid workshops. I do a talk, you like what I have to say? Do you want more? I cannot handle all the questions, I cannot do like all the explanation here. Okay, let's do a paid workshop. And then we can do like a 5 or 10 people private workshop. So this is like a part that most people forget about when they run their meetups. Right? The goal is here to create self-sustainable communities. That's why I call it the Bitcoin community flywheel. It has to operate. It has to work without the Bitcoin meetup organizer. The Bitcoin organizer is just a Kickstarter. You kickstart the fire, and then you should be able to step out. Now, do you guys remember the steps? What was the first step? Meet, similar. Host, second one. Engage, study, third one. And the fourth? Right? It's simple, it's stupid. Sometimes it's like, really? Yes. People forget to do this. Sometimes you host, you engage, but you don't study, and you think like you're doing things good for your community. No, you're doing things good for you. Because, oh, I met this speaker, or now I'm into, I don't know, Bitcoin mining, and my next meetup should be about mining. No, this is not a project for you. You are the community organizer. This is a project for your community. Do it in this order, and you'll see some results. Before I finish, I would like to share some data from my Barcelona Bitcoin Hub case. And those of you that want to know in detail how I did this, we can continue with the direct questions at my workshop at 5:30. So here's some data for the Barcelona case. And the data that I'm going to show you reflects the last 12 months. The Barcelona Bitcoin Hub didn't exist 12 months ago. Okay, so this is a 1-year-old project. So what do we have? 20 videos on YouTube. What else? 300 group members on the Telegram group. 35 attendees per meetup. More than 1,000 followers in our social media. And this is new, so after the 12 months, I decided to start a new experiment, a newsletter. Well, I have 40 subscribed members. You know, after the 12 months, we started with that. Let's see where it goes. And what else? The first sponsorship. It's not yet official, but we're working on that. So the goal is that this can be replicated to all of your communities. So if any of you is like Bitcoin meetup organizer, Bitcoin community builder, circular economy leader, or wants to start something, talk to me. My name is Jordi. You can find me on my social media. You can take a picture of this QR code to download Satlantis, which is the app I work for and that I use to run all these experiments. And if you have any more questions, join me in my workshop at 5:30 and the workshop area. Thank you very much.